Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this year's rally. This year's rally is special. It's not just a National Day rally, it's also an SG50 rally. We are looking back on 50 years of nation building and also looking forward to many more years of progress. I won't be singing this year, but someone else who sings much better will be singing. Let me begin in our national language. Biar saya mulakan dalam bahasa kebangsaan kita.
I will begin with our national language. My fellow Singaporeans, happy National Day. 50 years ago, Singapore separated from Malaysia. We became an independent, sovereign nation. At the press conference on 9th August 1965, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew promised all Singaporeans that we will have equal chance to progress. He said, "We are going to be a multiracial nation in Singapore. We will set an example. This is not a Malay nation. This is not a Chinese nation. This is not an Indian nation. Everyone will have his place here. There will be equality in terms of language, culture, and religion." 2 days later, Mr. Lee held a press conference with Malay journalists in Malay. Before asking his first question, a journalist addressed Mr. Lee as Tuan Perdana Menteri. Mr. Lee immediately replied, "Please do not address me as Tuan Perdana Menteri. Just as usual, Saudara Lee. It is not necessary. I am not a Syed like Syed Jaafar Alba. I am a common man, a small man." Mr. Lee's remark set the tone of our society in Singapore, that we are an equal society, an egalitarian society, that we will work side by side in building Singapore together. That is how our journey began. 50 years on, as a result of the people working closely with the government, we are now a harmonious, multiracial society that is egalitarian and successful. That is the reason we are able to celebrate SG50 together with gusto. Since independence, the Malay community has made enormous progress that is very uplifting. Today, Malays are represented in every part of the Singapore society. Nowadays, when we look for promising professionals to field as candidates, we find many successful Malays in many different fields. There are lawyers, bankers, educators, engineers, and SAF officers. Recently, I met 2 young pilots at Minister Yaakoob's Hari Raya get-together. The first, on the left side, is Captain Muhammad Azlan Abdul Latif. He is a Super Puma pilot. Captain Azlan told me he transported my delegation when I visited Brunei 2 years ago. I did not recognize him because, like other pilots, he looked rather spiffy in his uniform with his helmet on. The second is Captain Muhammad Iskandar Zulfadli Abdul Rahman, an F-5 fighter jet pilot. Captain Iskandar told me that he was participating in the SG50 NDP parade. During the parade, I managed to take a picture of the aerial display. I was told later that Captain Iskandar's jet is in the picture. He's not seen, but there he is. Both are poised, competitive, and confident of holding their own. They are successful and handsome. Another example of Singapore's success is Pak Iskandar Jalil, who is internationally known. Pak Iskandar is now actively passing on his skills to the next generation, regardless of race and religion. This year, Pak Iskandar was conferred one of the highest NDP awards, the Meritorious Service Medal. Although Pak Iskandar is not here tonight, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, the Malay Muslim community is constantly instilling a culture of self-reliance, but at the same time maintaining the spirit of gotong royong. This can be seen through your efforts in setting up self-help institutions such as Mendaki and AMP. The government strongly supported the progress of the Malay Muslim community by providing resources, advice, and also by providing leadership by Malay Muslim ministers and MPs. The Malay community has also benefited equally from national policies such as housing, education, and healthcare. In a multi-religious society, our government must be secular and neutral. But we understand the vital role of Islam in the Malay Muslim community. So we have been supportive. For example, through the setting up of MUIS and the Mosque Building and Mendaki Fund and the Mosque Upgrading Program. You have successfully been able to build 24 modern mosques in 40 years to meet the needs of the Muslim community. I have visited quite a few of these mosques. This includes Al-Mutakin in Amokyo, Mujahidin in Queenstown, An-Nur in Woodlands, and Al-Ansar in Bedok. All the mosques are beautiful, each with their own character and charm. The Malay Muslim community needs religious leaders who have grown up in Singapore and understand our plural society. They are familiar with our history and multi-religious context. They realize the importance of tolerance and the spirit of give and take with other groups. This will help us to achieve the Singapore Muslim identity. The presence of such religious leaders in Singapore have protected ourselves from the threat of violent extremism. In particular, the RRG has played a vital role in refuting wrong interpretations of Islam and guiding back those who have been led astray. I thank the RRG for their good work. I also thank the community for taking a firm, united stand against violent extremism. The government will continue to work with and support the Malay Muslim community in these efforts. All other communities should also support them. Full-time madrasas in Singapore play an important role in nurturing religious scholars and teachers. I am happy to see that madrasah standards have gone up, especially with the Joint Madrasah System, JMS. The government would like to help madrasahs to improve further. Surely, we will leave religious education to MUIS and the community, but the government can help in secular subjects like mathematics and science. It is important for our religious scholars and leaders to have a good grounding in non-religious subjects. It prepares them to guide Singapore Muslims to live in a modern, technological society. Therefore, the government will work with MUIS to strengthen the teaching of secular subjects in madrasas. We will provide financial support to upgrade teachers of secular subjects. We will also give out fun awards for students who do well in secular subjects. Ladies and gentlemen, one more area that we will be focusing on are social issues that are facing the Malay Muslim society. Our HDB program has enabled more than 90% of HDB dwellers to own their own flats, but a small group still live in rental flats. Within this group, Malays are overrepresented. Many are young Malay families with marital and financial problems. They may have bought a flat before, but after getting a divorce, they are forced to sell their flats and stay in rental flats. I am concerned about their future, especially that of their children. They may be trapped in the poverty cycle throughout their lives. We will need to help them to start anew. If they are determined to put their lives in order by stabilizing their families, holding a regular job, and making sure that their children stay in school, we should help them own flats once again so that they are able to provide their children with a more stable environment. I will speak more about this in my English speech later. What is clear, although there are challenges that need to be addressed, on the whole, the Malay Muslim community can be proud of its achievements and its contributions to Singapore. For example, at Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's funeral service, Haji Sidik Sanif spoke movingly and gave insights that showed depth of their friendship. It was amazing because we know Sidik actually started off by opposing a few of government policies. But in the end, Sidik called Mr. Lee as a friend and expressed his deep respect for Mr. Lee. He appreciated the advice and guidance of Mr. Lee. Sidik, I am glad you agreed to share your thoughts on Papa. Thank you.
Di upacara itu, beberapa sahabat Encik Lee dari kaum lain juga melahirkan perasaan
Other
serupa.
speakers also
Ini mencerminkan kejayaan Encik Lee
from different backgrounds and races also spoke, and they too regarded Mr. Lee as their friend. This showed Mr. Lee's success in building an inclusive society, a multiracial society, as was promised when we achieved independence. 50 years on, I am touched and proud to see many Malays, especially the young, expressing heartfelt love for Singapore openly.
Mereka menghargai dasar
They
ulang tahun
appreciated
kita.
and uphold our multiracial
Ini
society.
termasuk wartawan muda Berita Harian.
This includes a young Berita Harian reporter, Nur
Selepas
Duha
membuat
Isof.
liputan NDP,
After covering
beliau
the
menulis,
National Day Parade, she
apa yang
wrote,
terngiang-ngiang di telinga saya
"What struck
bukanlah
me
deruman 50 pesawat
at the end of the parade was not the breathtaking aerial display of our impressive mobile column,
yang berarak di Padang. Sebaliknya,
but
kata-kata Perdana Menteri
the poignant
pengasas Lee Kuan
words
Yew
of
selepas
our founding
perpisahan
PM Lee
Singapura
Kuan Yew,
dari Malaysia
speaking
yang paling
after
menyentuh
we
perasaan.
separated from Malaysia, that left a deep
Mari kita,
impression.
warga Singapura, bersatu
Let us
tanpa
Singaporeans
mengira bangsa,
unite
bahasa,
as one
agama,
united people, regardless of race, language, religion,
50
and
tahun
culture.
telah berlalu.
50
Semangat
years
perpaduan
have
yang
passed.
mendiang Lee bayangkan
The unity
pada tahun
that Mr.
65
Lee envisioned
kini
in
tersulam
1965
dalam kisah
is now
Singapura.
woven in a beautiful
Terima
tapestry
kasih, Duha.
that is our Singapore story. Thank you, Duha.
Dan terima kasih masyarakat Melayu Islam.
And thank you, our Malay Muslim community.
Saudara-saudari sekalian,
Ladies and
masyarakat
gentlemen,
Melayu Islam membentuk bahagian
the Malay
penting
Muslim
masyarakat
community
Singapura
is an
dan telah
integral
memberi
part of
sumbangan
Singapore,
besar kepada
and they have
keharmonian
contributed
dan
significantly
kemakmuran negara.
to our nation's
Pemerintah
harmony and
menghargai
progress.
sumbangan dan sokongan
The
padu
government
yang anda
appreciates
berikan
the
selama
community contributions and
Marilah
strong
kita
support.
teruskan kerjasama erat
Let us continue
yang lama
the
terjalin
strong
ini.
cooperation we have established over the
Marilah kita
years.
terus memperindah
Let us
kisah
continue to
Singapura
write the Singapore
dengan
story
memperkukuh
by strengthening
masyarakat berbilang bangsa
our
kita
harmonious
yang
multiracial society.
Marilah kita membawa Singapura
Let us take
menjangkau
our beloved
lebih dari
Singapore
SG50
beyond
dan
SG50
menjadikan tanah air kita yang
and make
tercinta ini
Singapore
lebih baik untuk kita
better
semua
for
dan
ourselves
anak-anak kita.
and also
Terima
for our
kasih.
children. Thank you.